Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, God of Heroics, and today we are a day late for our Daima review, and I apologize for that. My internet was acting up yesterday, and I had to instead put up the Fortnite video, which still trying to see how people feel about that. Try to branch out a little more, do other games than just Sparking Zero and Dragon Ball content. Like the Dragon Ball stuff is going to be the main stuff on the channel, but just branch out a little bit, see how you guys feel about other content. So that's something I'm probably going to try to push out at least once a week. Just one gaming video that's not necessarily Sparking Zero, just to see how everybody feels about it and how they receive it. Anyway, we're going to do our Daima review today because it is by far my favorite episode. I love this episode. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. But first, if you like this kind of content, reviews, or any of the other kind of content I do, the gameplay, please like the video, subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell so you can be updated with all future uploads. And without further ado, we are officially getting started. So this episode picks up exactly where episode 5 left off, with the team doing a full-on nosedive because their plane is overweight and they are crashing. So, no surprise that it's because of Pansy stuff, considering all the stuff we saw her put on the ship in the last episode at the end. And Pansy has the freaking audacity to say, "Oh, I think we packed too much luggage." Who the hell is we? Like 95% of the stuff, 98% of the stuff in here is yours. Goku brought nothing but his clothes and his power pole. Shin brought just his clothes and, his Patara earrings, which count as his outfit. And then freaking Glorio only brought his clothes, his gun, and I'm pretty sure food and water. And I'll explain why I think that's his, why I feel like he brought that later in this review. But anyway, they take a nosedive, crash, and Pansy says she's gonna fix the ship, which, surprise, surprise, well, not surprise, surprise, but which she actually does. She full on committed, she fixed the ship. Goku has to poop, she throws toilet paper at his face, and he goes behind this big aloe vera looking plant or whatever to do his due. Some soldiers from Goma's army show up looking for Goku. They say they're looking for a kid with round ears and spiky hair, and they have it out for him for 10 coins. The reason this is important is because coins are very valuable in this world. If you remember from the previous episode, the soldiers that came over from King Goma were taking 3 coins, and for each coin that the people did not cough up, they were stealing 3 years off of their lifespan, which again is very harsh considering this is probably like a monthly payment, and demons live for on average 1,000 years. So that adds up kind of fast. That like, imagine not paying that for like an entire calendar year. That's 12 months where you're losing 9 years off your lifespan. That is a lot of time that you just lost off your. That's like a tenth of your lifespan gone in a year. That's insane. Anyway, Glorio covers for him, basically saying that they haven't seen him, and the guards are like, "Well, if you see him, let us know." And then the guards leave. Goku comes out, and they tell him, "You were lucky. You went to the bathroom right when they showed up." And they ask Goku if he can do something about his hair, like style it differently. And he says no, his hair is pretty resilient. And that reminds me of that one time when Goku actually wore like a suit and everything. And I think it was in an episode of Super, or maybe it was a movie, I can't remember. But Goku wore like this really nice suit, and he slicked his hair in this interesting way or whatever. And his hair basically bursted right out of that. Very similar to like Bakugo in My Hero, when Best Genius slicked his hair down and his hair just exploded back out into like the explosive spiky style that it's in. His hair is strong as hell, needless to say. Anyway, Pansy's got the ship up and running again, fully prepared, and they're on their way. But they need to stop somewhere real quick because it is getting really dark, and they all need to rest, pretty much. So Glorio suggests that they bunker down in a cave and, eat a little bit of some rations. And after eating, they can all go to bed, wake up in the morning, continue their journey. And this goes interestingly because they have like a whole fire set up, and they have like this canned food, which is basically rationed. Pansy was not okay with this plan, which is why, again, that I think that this food brought was from Glorio, because it's like little canned, kind of like dog food or like cat food, how it comes like the small cans, like the really, really small cans. It was like that, and they were pretty much eating it out of the can. and they had some water, but Pansy didn't seem to be all that interested into this plan, especially since she left all her camping supplies back where they did the repairs, which is good because again she brought too much stuff and it wasn't going to all fit on the ship without the ship crashing and nosediving probably again. Anyway, everybody's asleep, or so we think, and Glorio is up, and he has a little phone call with my favorite, second favorite sexy scientist, um, Dr. Arinsu. First one being Android 21, don't at me. So he talks to her and says that everything's going to plan and that he's bringing her Goku. I'm not entirely certain why he needs to bring her Goku, but this is interesting because surprisingly, a little bit into this episode, I was thinking, man, what if Glorio actually has ties to Dr. Rinsu? Like, what if like he's her son or she's the one who hired him? I do think she is. I did think she was the one who hired him, and it's probably under false pretenses that somebody else hired him, but they she's the main one that hired him. Not entirely certain why. Again, he's bringing Goku, but we'll find out when the episode comes. But during this phone call, we find out that Supreme Kai is actually awake. He's peeking with one eye open but rolled over, and he actually overhears this conversation. Surprisingly, as much sus as he's had on this man, he doesn't say anything about it in this episode. So I assume that's going to be in the next episode where he probably mentions it, or he's probably going to confront him about it like one or two episodes later, probably in private when it's just the two of them. I don't think he's going to call him out in front of the group because that's usually not how Shin rolls. But I imagine he is going to say something to him and be like, "Hey, if you're planning to backstab us, I got plans, or I'm gonna stop you, whatever, whatever, whatever." Anyway, I still don't think Gloria has malicious intent. I know that it pretty much looks that way, but I think we're far too early in the show to be given this kind of like, turnaround for a character or some kind of sign of betrayal. I genuinely do think that he has plans with Dr. Rinsu, but I don't think his plans are malicious. Even if I'm not even entirely certain if her plans are malicious because Shin says in this episode, Supreme Kai says in this episode um, that Degesu and Arinsu are his siblings, and he says that while they seem a little off, and she's more of a mad scientist, and is very radical, that it's not really his fault, or it's not really their fault that they turned out the way they did. Glorio gives this reaction, not much of a reaction, but he kind of squints his eyes, like that's what you say, but I don't believe you, kind of thing. So I do believe that he has some kind of history with Glenn's, or specifically Degesu and Arinsu, and he knows something that we don't, or he blames them for something that happened. So I do believe that while he's working with Dr. Arinsu, that he has ulterior motives that she might not even be aware of. But all in all, again, I don't think that Glorio is a villain. It may look like it, but I really do think that he's hinging on the side of good. Anyway, while they're in this cave, a Minotaur shows up, and I'm thinking this is about to just be a crazy monster fight, and we're going to see Goku and Glorio maybe work together, or Shin is going to use some kind of crazy magic. But no, this Minotaur starts talking, and he starts talking mad shit. Like, I'm thinking like this is going to be one of those feral monsters who's, kind of crazy and they just roar and attack. But no, he talks, which is cool. It was weird to me, especially because like his eyes are like bloodshot red, but then he has these little black pupils in there. It kind of threw me off. Like it made his malicious intent not look so malicious. But it did make his character design look a little goofy, which kind of plays into his character. So remember in the last episode where I said Glorio was just a thug, or I think it was the last episode, maybe the episode before, but I said he's been a thug. He's been thugging since forever. The way he took down that demon fish or whatever was cool. The way he beat up those people in the bar, especially the elbow to the neck, that was pretty vicious. But in here, I'm like, yo, he is definitely thugging because this Minotaur's talking hot shit, talking about, I'm gonna eat y'all, my lunch came to me, and Glorio's like, oh, you're gonna eat us? And the Minotaur's like, hell yeah, that's what I'm here for. And he's like, all right, bet, step outside. And when he said that, I was like, hey, yo, this motherfucker about to get his ass beat, dude. Do not go outside. If you are talking crazy to a motherfucker and that dude says, hey, step outside, don't. Just don't. So I'm like, yo, he about to get whopped. But this episode takes a crazy turn because Goku is like, hey, maybe I should handle this. And Glorio's like, do you really think you're that much stronger than me? And Goku's like, yeah, not to brag, but yeah. And here's what I'm thinking. Wait a minute. how strong is Glorio? Because we've seen him get into a couple fights here. And to me, it just seems like he's like kind of been around in the third demon world and probably a lot of the first demon world. He knows his way around a fight. He knows like how to tell when somebody has ill intent. He has pretty good instincts in combat. But I never thought he's on Goku's level. But then when he said that, I'm thinking, wait, so how strong is Glorio? Because we've seen Goku get into quite a few fights, and Glorio has witnessed all of them. And he's telling Goku like, "Oh, you're not that much stronger than me," and I'm like, "Oh, Glorio might be stronger than we've seen." I mean, considering he is a demon, it's possible that he does, he is stronger. But then on top of that, we haven't seen his magic, so I'm thinking, wow, it's got to be crazy. And no, they deliver. His shit is crazy. So him and Goku actually go outside and decide to spar, and completely ignoring the Minotaur, by the way. So Pansy and Shin are watching from the sidelines, and apparently so is the Minotaur. He's just standing there watching because I guess in his mind he's like, "Hey, if y'all kill each other, that's just one less person I got to deal with." And then Glorio and Goku start scrapping. Like Goku tells him, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna fight with one hand behind my back," and they start fighting. And it seems like they're both holding back, to be honest. And then and Glorio reveals his magic. Probably the coolest fucking magic I've seen in all of Dragon Ball. He has this purple lightning, but just telling you that it looks cool isn't good enough. Like, y'all really gotta witness this shit. In fact, I'm using it for the thumbnail, but it is way cooler than it looks. Like, it comes off his finger like a small little purple ball, kind of like Frieza's death ball, but then it explodes with like this purple lightning energy just kind of going everywhere. And Goku's like, "Oh, what's that?" And he's just like, "Magic." Like, bro, he's a man of few words, but a man of action for sure. And he launches the shit at Goku. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, magic affects everybody. Even if, you got strong ki. Like, ki don't seem to take any kind of place when it comes to magic. Magic seems to be like a durability skip kind of thing. So I'm like, Goku, you should probably get the hell out the way. Like, at worst, you'll die. At best, you'll be hospitalized. So Goku does dodge it. At some point, Shin is like, "Hey, Goku, start fighting all out. I want to see how strong Glorio really is." And I'm glad he said that because I'm wondering, yeah, how strong is Glorio? But also, Shin is playing 3D chess here because if Glorio is sus and he turns out to be an enemy and they're going to have to battle him, it's probably good to know how strong he actually is so they can know how to deal with him in the future if they have to deal with him. So, good job, Shin. Good job to Supreme Kai. So Goku starts going all out, kind of. He pulls out the power pole, uh, and they start scrapping. And this is where I feel like it got a little lazy because now that Glorio's revealed his magic, that's kind of all he does for like the rest of the fight. He just points his fingers and shoots like purple lightning from his fingers, and it's really weird. Like, I mean, all in all, like Goku's running up the power pole, he's dodging the purple lightning. It kind of gives me a little bit of like the super vibes when Goku was fighting Kefla and he was like dodging all of her beams to hit her with that Kamehameha, and he lands a hard strike to Glorio's midsection. It's his blast two in Sparking Zero, where he just runs up and hits him really hard with the powerball. It's that Glorio uses a lot more magic. He's like charging it up like this really powerful one, like he's about to obliterate Goku. And then Goku goes Super Saiyan finally. He doesn't just flex the aura like he did in that previous fight. He actually full on goes Super Saiyan, and Glorio blasts his strongest magic beam. Probably not his strongest, but it looks like his strongest magic beam. And Goku destroys it with his fingertips. He just disperses the energy. Pretty cool. And then he, kind of just after image warps behind him and puts his hand on his back, saying, like, "Hey, this fight is over." So Goku wins, stronger than Glorio, tells him about his Super Saiyan transformation, and they think it's magic, but it's not. I mean, Pansy thought it was magic, but he tells her like it's not magic. I can just transform, and she's like, "Oh, but you got a ton of other abilities." And he's like, "Yeah, I do." They don't get into it, but Goku got a kind of deep bag. So the Minotaur's like trying to walk away, and they're like, "Hey, we're still gonna fight, right?" And then he does, the Hercule, the "oh well, yeah, yeah, we yeah, let's fight, let's go." And then he's like, "Oh, I forgot, I killed a beast a while ago, and I ate a lot, so I'm not hungry anymore. You guys got lucky." And then he leaves. So that happens. It's pretty hilarious. I like it. I was a little iffy on the Minotaur at first when he first showed up, thinking, he was going to be a Ravageous beast. I thought it'd be cooler that way, but no, this way, being played up for laughs was kind of cool. I loved it. Really, really fun. So the group is ready to leave now that the Minotaur is gone and Goku has to poop again. Pansy throwing the toilet paper at him again, basically recalling the previous joke from the beginning of the episode. Then we get to keep up with people on Earth. So we go back and see what's going on Kami's Lookout. Vegeta has this huge barbell on his back doing squats, very reminiscent of Zoro doing his exercises. But I'm pretty sure Zoro's are bigger, and I'm pretty sure Zoro did it as a handstand with his feet at some point. But anyway, Vegeta's training, and that's obviously gonna happen. Piccolo is waiting, and Bulma's still working on the ship. She finishes it, and they're ready to go. Now, this actually surprised me because we get to see who's gonna go. Kibito's going, which I called. Vegeta's going, obviously. Piccolo's going, which again I also called. But Bulma's not going for some reason. She didn't get on. I would have loved to see Bulma meet Pansy and have tons of discussions about repairs and see Bulma teach Pansy a lot of stuff because it seems like Pansy is very tech savvy and very good with machinery and repairs and stuff like that, building. But I'm pretty sure Bulma's years of engineering is just far better than Pansy's, and I would love to see her teach her some things, but it is what it is. Anyway, the ship doesn't work. Something's wrong with it, and it crashes, and that's pretty much where the episode ends. They're like, "Oh, it's not working. What's wrong with it?" But I'm pretty sure that this is just an excuse to kind of keep them there for a little bit longer so that the king's assistant from the previous episode can actually show up and pick them up, guide them to the demon world, because obviously they didn't have the pin number, so they wouldn't be able to do it anyway. So, kind of cool that this is, just standard convenience to keep the adventure going in a different direction. Anyway, that's pretty much it. This episode was fun. It's honestly my favorite episode so far. I love that there's so much respect going on for Glorio now. And seeing him fight Goku was really fun. Just wish it was a little bit longer, and that after the initial use of his magic, he didn't lean on it so much. Um, if he had been scrapping and then using it every so often, he did this really cool trick where he made like a purple lightning whip. That was kind of cool. But I wish he had incorporated it into his actual martial arts rather than just standing there and spamming it. But it was fun. I'm glad to see that Glorio's still getting some love, and I want to see him do more. I want to see him get into more fights. It's gonna be a fun time. Anyway, that's pretty much gonna do it for me. Like to subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.